Welcome back. As I stated, we'll be discussing pregnancy. Oftentimes, we go through pregnancy and we don't speak about it. We don't speak about the problems that we face as women, and today we want to shed some light on that. I'll take it over to my sister Swetwana, who will elaborate a bit more on her struggles with pregnancy.
Hi, Shamiza. It's so good being here once more with my beautiful sisters. Pregnancy. Well, in 2014, I was attending the University of Guyana. It was my leading into my final year. I was expected to complete studies in 2015. And so it was about August, I think, I realized that something was definitely wrong with me. Like I was feeling sick, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do a test. And I did a test. I could remember it was a Sunday, um, and it came back positive. And I was like, wow, I'm pregnant because couple months before, my best friend, one of my best friends, I have several best friends, Vanessa, she became pregnant, and I was so, I was hard on her, and I was like, we're going to UG, we're supposed to study, complete our studies together, and you're pregnant, and then pops, I'm in the same situation, and so the first thing I wanted to know, I wanted to ensure that my mother was aware that I was pregnant. And my mother and parents, they're very strict. They were very strict at the time. But nonetheless, I felt that at that time, the first person that ought to have known was should have been my mother. And so once I found out that very day, I sent her a message. And I told her, I know, I probably disappoint the family, given that I come up in a Christian background. But, I'm pregnant and I wish not to be called at this time because I didn't want to answer questions. I didn't want people to, row with me or have any conversation that would make me feel depressed or like a major disappointment to them. So I sent her a lovely message. I promised her that I would have completed my studies. I'll pull through. And so I think I went home like a month after. And
That's the Linden?
yeah, still in then. And my family, they were like very quiet. I guess they were waiting for me to say, oh, Svetlana, you're pregnant for real. So, and when I got home, my mother was like, she wanted me to get married before Johnny arrived in 2015. I was like, I'm not prepared for marriage. I'm prepared for pregnancy. I definitely want to have my child and my what you call a partner at the time, Jude, he was very supportive. So I'm thankful that I had that kind of support. For me, I
Right.
cried many months because of struggling with school and, worrying when you'll get to complete. So it so happened that by 2015, my final year writing my exams, I went to the hospital. I came out. I got my assignments done. I had tremendous support from my friends. I remember I had a marketing project to complete, and Shantil helped me a whole lot. Vanessa used to get my notes. So when she was having baby, I supplied her with notes. And when I was having a baby, she supplied me with notes. And that showed me Latoya and I used to live together, and she wasn't pregnant at the time, but she was a nurse, so she kind of like walked me through the process.
Right.
If I had to go to the hospital, they were there. I had all my other sisters, all my other friends there, offering that tremendous support. So for me, I'm thankful that I had the support. It was a bit depressing, worrying about what society or how society may have judged me or would
Right.
judge me because yeah, I'm not married, I'm pregnant. They sent me to UG, came back with a baby. You know how they go,
Right,
right?
right.
But it was kind of like that. Toys, how was your experience?
Well, for me, I, to be quite honest, I was told once by a doctor because I trouble from what we call polycystic ovarian syndrome. I was told that I would never have a child, and that kind of,
Haunt
it
your
played
spirit.
with me in many ways. Lots of times, yeah, lots of times, I kind of went into a depressed state, but after that, I was preparing for my wedding, and I I was working the night shift at work, and I realized that I wasn't feeling well, and I went to the emergency room because of this low blood pressure, and then I discovered that I was pregnant. So when I became pregnant, I was in no frame of mind to deal with pregnancy. Basically, I was just thinking, okay, I'm getting married. I need to worry about all these wedding preparations, and and to have a baby pop up on me, this was like very unexpected. And the mental part of me, society's like, oh, we were so happy. Not that I wasn't happy to be pregnant, but I didn't think that I was ready at that point because I had so many other things going on.
Right.
But all in all, it went well. I had support, a whole lot of support, even though I was very miserable. And I'm pretty sure my friends can attest to that fact that I was very miserable.
Right. Well,
But nevertheless, I see my son is my unexpected blessing because he was a child I was told that I would never have.
Right.
And having him, in the end, I eventually got prepared because he was coming and there was no way
No.
that I wasn't going to have him. But I was always very thankful for the fact that my spouse, my husband, no, he was always very much supportive. Listen, the man prayed me so much at times. I swear he need to be a pastor. But anywho,
Brother Troy.
but it was challenging, but pretty good in the end. I don't regret any part of the experience that I had. But I'm not the only one here who has dealt with challenges while being pregnant. My sister Colleen can speak more on that.
Definitely, definitely toys. Um, well, in my case, you're having fun
In the sun.
in the sun and you're not thinking about the consequences of getting burned from the sun. So, of course, I wasn't prepared for Madison. When I got pregnant with my daughter, I remembered I was still seeing my menstrual cycle would keep coming the usual time. Every month, I would normally see my health for the specified amount of time. So I was thinking, probably I'm eating too much.
You put on
I'm
some
a
weight.
belly growing and I'm putting on a little size. But because I'm seeing my period, so I try to suppress the fact that probably, nah, man, it's not anything to do with pregnancy. And then, when you go and you enjoy in the sun, they have certain things that you would do, and then you be like, oh, nah, I can't get catch. All right?
Wait, what do you mean you were enjoying the sun?
Having sexual intercourse. Right?
Okay.
So
I
you're
can
thinking,
tell
oh,
on
you
you.
know what? Soon as you finish, you're going to do this, and nah, I can't get catch.
Morning
right?
after pill. I know it's what you're talking about.
But so happens that I became pregnant with Madison. At the time, I was attending UG, and I think it was 6 months when when I went and I did the test, and it was confirmed that, you know what, I'm pregnant and so on. So at that point, because I honestly did not want the pregnancy, I isolated myself. So, like Svetlana would call, will you there? I'll come in and see you. Oh, I'm in town. I'm at the island then, or I'm always making up an excuse that I'm somewhere where she's not, and so on. So I did not visit my mom. I would call her and so on. Oh, I gotta work, I gotta do this and whatever. All this time, I'm coming up with strategies of how I can get rid of this pregnancy. So I went to the hospital. I'm not gonna call the name, but I went to the hospital and they were like, "No, we can't do anything about that because you are already 6 months past, going into 7 months, and this is a matter of life and death." So I was like, yeah, telling me stupidness. Me want to hear that. And, I left and I went to a private hospital and they said to me, yes, we can do it, but it's going to cost you this amount of money. So I was like, well, I get tuition. I got to pay transportation. I got to eat. Because I catch in public, I got to eat. Plus, I got to find this amount of money for this abortion. So I called my child father. I said, I got to get money to do X, Y, Z, and so on. He's like, so you got to get all the money to do something like some lie I told him. And so on. I said, man, I don't want the pregnancy, and I think we should get rid of it because we ain't ready yet, and so on. And I thank God for him because he never supported it. He never supported it. Um, but I had my challenges with Madison, and my mom, when she became aware that I was pregnant, she was like, you know what, you can't harm my grandchild because it's her 1st. And she's like heading into her 50s. So she was like, I don't have a grandchild. Nobody's been giving me any grandchildren. And then she started crying.
No, you can't.
And she started crying. Like, my daughter literally lives with my mom whenever I go home. If I have to bring my daughter to Georgetown, because her father's in Georgetown, she would become angry with me. And it's like, why you carrying away my grandchild? But it's not your child, it's my child. Like, why you carrying away my grandchild? How you could do this to me, Colleen? And
The
like,
woman need company,
right?
somebody to keep her busy.
but Madison has brought joy to our hearts, and just as
Yes.
Toya would have said, is our unexpected blessings, and she doesn't regret anything, and Lana would have expressed it. She doesn't regret having Johnny as well. I do not regret having Madison. She is a blessing. Of course, what I'm going to leave with you people, you're going to have challenges. You may not be ready at the present time, but you're going to enjoy the outcome,
Because children are blessings.
Blessings.
because they're blessings, as Lana would have said, right? But Nels, can you tell me, do you feel
Shannon,
pressured knowing that you don't have a child?
No, not at all. I don't feel pressured at all. I enjoy when we have to go out and I don't have to study babysitter.
Right?
But not that will not be a problem in any case. But for me, the pressure comes from people in society always having to ask you the question, oh, when you don't get a baby,
Right.
why you don't make a child yet? As if you can go into the store
And just pick up
and
the
just
child.
pick up a baby just like that. I mean,
Right.
like Latoya explained, that sometimes you have medical challenges
Right.
that you are actually facing, but people don't stop to consider that. Not that I'm saying that's my case,
Right.
but what I'm saying, they generally ask anybody. Much as if you're married, it's even worse. You're married today, tomorrow they're asking you, when you
When you
giving
get
your
the-
husband a
Right.
child?
Or when you
That
get
is
to the
true.
second
Or
child.
when you get in the second child.
Yeah.
You haven't even enjoyed your little marriage life, enjoy your youth. There are so many other things that you can do in terms of academic, in terms of work, in terms of just self-development that would better enable you to cope when that child comes.
Right.
So I detest people asking me when I'm getting married. It's like, I don't ask you when you're gonna die.
True.
And we all have to die, right? But nobody comes up to you and asks you that. So my thing is, people might be dealing with so much. It doesn't even necessarily have to be medical issues. Some people just choose not to have a child at this time
Right.
Because they're just not ready.
because they're just not ready. So before you pounce upon somebody to ask them when they will get a child or why they may get a baby yet, consider that it's the person's choice, first of all. And secondly, only God can give people babies.
True.
So whenever God is ready to bless that person with a child, they will get a child. Until then, mind your own business.
True.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Shamisa,
Yeah.
I know you've frozen your eggs some time ago. Tell us about why you did it and when is the right time.
Yeah, no, my children are they're chilling in the freezer. Uh my GYN actually is the reason why I decided to do that. I was like about 24, I believe, and I was telling him what I wanted to do with my life at the time. And I was still in school. So he advised, you know what you're trying to do, which is law, will take some time. perhaps you should freeze your eggs. And I was like, okay, because I wasn't thinking about children. And I did it. It was emotional because it's a lot of hormonal treatment and so forth, and it was expensive for those who are considering it, but I don't regret it, and I feel very blessed to have a group of people around me, including you guys and my family, who has never pressured me into pregnancy. And I see that a lot in society, especially from the older generation. They put so much pressure on women to have a baby or get married, and they keep asking. And then after you have a baby, to piggyback on what Chanelli said, they want to know, oh, when are you going to have a second one? Or when are you going to have a girl or a boy? As if we can go into a store and pick it up. And I really don't appreciate anyone policing a woman's ovary. Like, it's really not your business. And I'm still not ready to have a baby. And I'm what, 30? Well, 23. Yeah. And I'm still not ready. And I refuse to give in to the pressure of it. Again, that's why I said I'm grateful that I froze my eggs, because if I'm ready in the next 5 years, that's when I'll do it. And I do want children, but at my own pace. I want to be able to do this just off of my decision and my husband's decision, not what society wants. And I must thank you guys as sisters for not being those group of friends who always put pressure on their girlfriend to have a baby. You guys have always been very supportive, and you've always encouraged me to do what it is that I want to do. And you've always kept it real with parenthood. And I do want to thank you guys for that.
You're
So,
welcome.
and also, I know a lot of women go through postpartum depression with pregnancy, something people don't even talk about or think about when they put the pressure on us. So, Toya, Swatwana, Colleen, have you guys ever experienced postpartum depression?
Yes, I have experienced postpartum depression. Um, I think um, when when I gave birth to my daughter, being in the hospital and so on, I did not experience any sort of ill thought towards my daughter. I was in the hospital, I was protective of her and so on. But when I got discharged, I remember my child father and I, we were going home and in the car, and I had my daughter in my hand, and I'm something is saying to me to throw her out the window, the car window. So it keeps repeating in my head, throw your daughter out, throw your daughter out. So I'm like, what? So I told my child father, I said, something's telling me to throw Madison outside. So he took Madison from me, and he probably didn't even know what probably going on with me. So he just collect Madison. He probably think that, oh well, she feels she can kill me, child, right? Because we're both ignorant to the fact of what postpartum depression is. Because as we would have shared before, we're unprepared. You're not doing much research and reading and so on, equipping yourself for this pregnancy. And another incident, I was in Linden. I went to pick up my daughter from my mom. Yeah, because it's my mom's child, so I just gotta go and pick her up when I need her. So we were in the boat, and that is where in Linden we have Wisma and Mackenzie. So I was on the Wisma shore, coming over to the Mackenzie shore, and this voice so strong telling me to throw my daughter out overboard, throw her overboard, throw your daughter
Oh,
overboard. And I have my daughter in my hand, and I'm holding her so tight because I'm feeling like this thing is literally like pulling my hand to throw my daughter um, in the water. And I called my mom and I told her, I said, I don't know what's going on, but I've been like it comes, probably it's gonna come like a week, and then it's gonna come like probably the next week, and then you're gonna go back to normalcy, and then it can just happen again. That's how it used to happen to me. So it's not like something that happens all the time, all the time, all the time. And I spoke to my mom, and my mom called my aunt in the States because she's a nurse. And, my aunt explained what was going on and so on. And also recently, my sister would have also, Latoya, the nurse, she would have also explained to me more about the postpartum depression and so on, because I was also sharing with my girlfriends and so on. But what I can say is, for postpartum depression, it has to do with the depressed aspect of it. So you have thoughts of wanting to harm your child. You have thoughts of not wanting to be around the child. You feel as though the child comes as a weight, or the child comes as a burden to you, and you somewhat cave into a depressed mood. And that is what happened to me. I don't know if it's because I didn't want the child. I really don't know. But, as women, those things happen. It's natural. You're not a murderer
Yeah.
or anything of the sort. It's natural. And, some, you can get help. There's help out there for you. Latoya is going to
Tell us
delve in
more.
more about that.
All right, so Colleen did a wonderful explanation of postpartum depression there. That is exactly what it is. But also, there is something called postpartum blues, which many first time mothers deal with. And nobody in society ever stops to tell us about that part of it. Nobody says to us that it will play on your mental health because it's a new role of being a mom. And, you know, postpartum blues is basically you're scared that you're not getting it right. You don't think that anything you do for this child is the right way. You always question yourself. You starve yourself because you think, oh, if I move too far and this baby cry, this baby hungry and I'm not there. And what makes it worse is that when that family member keep coming around and they keep telling you, oh, you didn't do this, and girl, you need to fix the baby. So it doesn't help with postpartum blues nor postpartum depression. Oftentimes, sometimes postpartum blues can lead to postpartum depression. And I would always say, these are issues that society doesn't speak about. Many new moms don't speak about. It's things that,
Yeah.
if it occurs, people look at us and say, oh, she run mad. It's not a case of running mad. It's just that we need a support system. And the best way to get us out of that is to have a family member or to have family that is supportive, friends that are supportive. We don't need the type of energy where you're going to come around and be like, yo, you need to do this, you need to do that.
Yeah, and
And
give-
she going on, it's like,
You're not doing enough.
Yes,
Give you a
right.
chance to grow, to give you a chance to learn, because it's a new experience. And I for think, you as well.
Exactly.
And if I could just add, I think that's something really important to know, and I'm happy that you mentioned it, because oftentimes we do not give first-time mothers an opportunity to grow, and sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right, sure.
And sometimes I feel like some mothers or older women, they could be really harsh on young mothers.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not pinning it properly. You're not fixing the pampers properly. Oh, the child ain't burp properly. I mean, it's okay to share your experience, but don't make us feel as though we're being less of a mother.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Yeah.
because I'm sure that when they were a first-time mother,
They
they
just
had
have
to
to
they have to
learn.
learn. But
Right.
sometimes as
Yeah.
women, we're extremely harsh on one another.
That is
Exactly.
true.
That's a great point. And that's actually why most women end up with postpartum blues. When you listen to a lot of women talk their stories, that is one of the first things they mention. Oh, every minute somebody telling me this and they telling me that. Like, yes, we thank you for being understanding and we know you want us to give this child the best care. But there are ways in which you can do something that doesn't comes off as harsh. It doesn't comes off like we feel any less of ourselves as a model. We need to oftentimes remember a first times mother, it's new to them. It's going to be hard. The journey is full of challenges. This is the first time we losing sleep because we know but sleeping whole night. See, imagine the fatigue with
Yeah.
waking up. You gotta check the baby, feed the baby, ensure baby's dry. That is new to us. So obviously it will seems it kind of put you in that postpartum
Yeah,
blues.
'cause you gotta
but-
condition your mind.
Exactly.
It's not
It's a
hormone
mental
change,
thing too. You
yeah.
need to be able to accept, well, this is my new norm. So give us time, give us space. Be our support system, but don't push too hard.
The other thing is working mothers.
Oh,
You know, for me, I work extremely
Girl.
long hours. And if I could
Yeah.
share, there was a point in time where I would I would take my child to the daycare facility, then I would go to work, then I would pick her up. And if I'm not finished, because I'm a journalist, I have to take her to work with me. And sometimes you hear, oh, she's working long hours. I prefer to have my child with me than to have her with anybody else. I mean, if I have to travel on work duty, I would, of
Make
course, send
preparations
her
for
with
that.
her or either of her grandparents. But sometimes I feel like people think that you're not finding enough time, and they don't know the sacrifices you make.
Right.
Like, I don't think maybe once I miss an activity for my daughter, right? Once, 5 years, once. I've always been there. I mean, I work long hours, but I also ensure that I take good care of her. But from the time, oh, you're not doing enough, men go out. Men
Yeah,
have
they
a
live
social
right.
life.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah.
they're allowed to travel. Nobody complains that he's not there. You
No
hear, oh,
judgment.
he's gone on work duty. He'll be back next
That
3
is
weeks.
true. That
But
is
from
true.
the moment you have to work a couple hours late, it's a whole
You're the
cry.
worst thing off, yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
doing a good job. Or you could, if you're tired, you could go and sleep, and I look at it. It's my child, and I'm not talking solely about personal experience, because I've had a good support system, but I see and I hear and I speak to a lot of women who feel somewhat, like they're not doing enough because
Yeah.
society told them that they're not doing enough. You're doing an excellent job.
Yes.
Yes.
You're working
Yes.
from 9 to 5. You're taking care of a
Providing
family,
for this child.
and
Wholesome.
and I think sometimes society could be extremely harsh on women, and that could cause
Women.
you to lead, into depression.
That is
Exactly.
true. And you have to take into consideration too, women need to put themselves in positions where they can take care of these children,
Yeah.
because oftentimes the men walk out.
That is true.
Yeah.
Some of them,
It's
you
true.
know, they have a lot of other things going on for them. I mean, it's sometimes you think you choose the right person to raise a family with, but then the man
Right.
ain't ready for a family, because that might probably slow him down a bit. So we have to position ourselves. You know, they say daddy may be mommy baby.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
are always left with the child, and not that we're complaining. We're very happy that we're able to see our child every second we get. But then at the same time,
need that
we
support.
need the support, and we need you to understand that when we're making sacrifices, it's not that we're neglecting our parental duties, but it's that we just got to do what we have to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Right.
toys, if need of assistance and so on.
So if you're a woman who's experienced any sign of postpartum blues or postpartum depression, or you just feel like you need somebody to talk to,
Call me.
She's a teacher. No, don't.
so there are systems in place that you can go. There is the Guyana Parent Association. There at Georgetown Hospital, there are persons there that can give you counseling. There are hotline numbers that you can call, not only here in Ghana but in the U.S. Please seek help.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to family members, I would urge you, please stop putting so much pressure on us. We're doing the best we could.
Right.
And if you're going to give us comments, please be mindful of the way you do it.
Right.
When you're here with us, what we need for you is to be a support. And if you as a family member know that you cannot be the supportive relative that we need, I ask you to please exit. Because as it is, having a new baby is a
already
whole
enough.
challenge by
Yeah.
itself.
It's a blessing,
Right.
but it's a
Change.
challenge.
And then being a working mom, you endure many more challenges as
Yeah.
well. Because, it's not easy. So, thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. We see you on the next episode. Do take care.
Bye.
Bye.